The Munay Ki are the initiation rites of the medicine people of the Americas. They are a 9-step process for healing the wounds from our past, from our childhood, and the wounds of our ancestors, the genetic and the karmic inheritance that we were born into this life with. My name is Dr. Alberto Villoldo. I am a medical anthropologist who began researching the human mind, how the mind creates psychosomatic health and disease. And early in my training, I left my laboratory at San Francisco State University to go to the Amazon to work with the high medicine people of the rainforest. Later, I ended up working with the last of the Inca, with medicine men and women who are known as Laika, as earth keepers, who were the keepers of an ancient body of prophecy. But even more important, they were the keepers of a body of processes that can help us to not only heal, but step into who we are becoming 10,000 years from today. They are the keepers of a prophecy that speak about the year 2012 as a cataclysmic time for the earth, as a time of the culling of humanity, a harvesting of souls they speak about. At the same time, they talk about a time of tremendous opportunity for humanity to step into a millennium of gold and a millennium of peace. These are the prophecies of the Inca, of the Mayan, of the Hopi, and they all converge on this time in history, today. They are the prophecies of 2012. As important as the prophecies are the processes. The processes are the energetic transmissions that will allow us to step into who we are becoming, the quantum leap into an entirely new kind of human that I like to speak about as homo luminous. The Laika, the earth keepers of old, recognized that we have a luminous energy field that envelops the physical body and that organizes the body in the same way that a magnet organizes iron filings on top of a piece of glass. The luminous energy field is the software that informs DNA, which is the hardware. The hardware, DNA, manufactures the body. When we download the latest version of the software by reaching into the future and stepping into who we are becoming, receiving the instructions that will reprogram our DNA, that will help us to create new bodies that age differently, that heal differently, and that die differently. This is the opportunity that we have today. Because the Laika, the earth keepers, understand that evolution does not happen only in between generations, like we like to think of in biology. They understand that evolution happens within generations, that we are creating a new body every 8 months. Not a single molecule in your body remains in your body for longer than 8 months. So that who you are today, 8 months ago was river and elk and salmon and whale and eagle. 8 months from now, you will grow an entirely new body that can be a replica of the one that you had 8 months ago, that was still informed by your karma, by the genes that you inherited from your parents. Or you can grow a luminous body that will be informed by who you are becoming, by who we are becoming as a new species that is appearing in the planet between today and the year 2012. Because we are the ones that we've been waiting for. This is what the teachings of the Laika, of the Earth Keepers, tell us. That we can re-inform our DNA, that we can grow a new luminous blueprint. What the Earth Keepers tell us is that There's no junk DNA in our system. Scientists believe that up to 90% of your DNA is redundant, is junk. We know that there's no such thing. We know that within this DNA is the pool of possible instructions for creating a luminous being. And that this is happening today. This has never been possible before in the history of humanity. It is possible within our lifetimes. The Laika are not ordinary shamans. They're not ordinary healers and herbalists and midwives. They are the earth keepers, the wisdom keepers. They came across the Bering Straits 30,000 years ago. Before that, they walked over the Himalayas, across the plains of China and into Siberia, crossed the frozen Bering Straits and entered North America 25 to 30,000 years ago and settled into Central and South America. They are the keepers of an ancient body of rites, and they are making these rites available to us today to help us grow the new human that is emerging in the planet today, who is you and I. I received these rites during my 25-year-long apprenticeship with the Laika high in the Andes and in the Amazon rainforest. They gave me instructions to carry these back into our world, into the West, with the admonition to never charge for these rites. Traditionally, you were brought a gift, a valuable gift, by the person receiving these rites. Later on, as you view the sections on the cautions and precautions that we should take, you will see that it's okay to receive compensation for your coaching and your assistance, but these rites are always shared freely. This is a pi stone. It is a geometric shape known as a torus or a donut, and it represents a hyperdimensional gateway that gives us access to an invisible realm that the Laika and the Earth Keepers have access to as a result of the 9 initiations of the Munay Ki. The pi stone is a representation of the human luminous energy field. It's a luminous energy field that surrounds and envelops the physical body, and that is the blueprint for our physical, emotional, and spiritual selves. The luminous energy field enters the body through our feet, rises up through the core of the body along our spine and out the very top of our heads, and then comes down the width of our outstretched arms, entering the earth for about a foot and rising up through our feet once again, creating a donut-shaped luminous structure that contains, envelops, and informs us. The pi stones are found throughout the Americas. Vast quantities of them are in museums. No one knows what they were used for. The Laika know that they are portals or gateways. But they also know that they're simply stones, that you are the portal, that you are the gateway, that when you become an access point to the hyperdimensional matrix of creation, at that point, your luminous energy field is unbound from time. You're no longer the effects only of your past, of the events that occurred to you when you were 12, when you were 6, in a former lifetime, before you were born. You're no longer the result of the genes that you inherited from your mother and your father, but you are the result of the future, of your destiny reaching back like a giant hand and compelling and propelling you into your becoming. You, in effect, become a portal to the hyperdimensional matrix. And after you do that, after you go through the 9 rites of initiation of the Munay Ki, then you can begin to dream the world into being, to dream the world that we want our children's children to inherit. The Munay Ki is a series of 9 transmissions that you receive as seeds. They are seeds that enter into the soil of your luminous energy field. They are gifted to you by another, as you will be able to gift onto others as well. But only in the form of seeds. Seeds that each one of us must grow into great big ears of corn, into fruit-bearing trees. It is up to each one of us to grow these seeds. There are 4 fundamental transmissions of the Munay Ki. The first one awakens the seer within you. Awakens the seer and the ability to see into the invisible world of energy and spirit. The second awakens the healer and the healing power of your hands. And it also launches you in a process of personal healing. The third aspect are protections, energetic protections, so that we can walk fearlessly and with beauty in the world. And the fourth is a connection to a lineage. The Munay Ki connects us to a lineage of wisdom keepers, of earth keepers from the past and the future, of luminous beings who have transcended their status and their state as mortals and have become angelic. This is the lineage that works with you and through you. Men and women from the past and the future. The Earth Keepers understand that the universe manifests at 4 different levels. It's helpful to think of these 4 levels as Russian nesting dolls. Dolls that nest within each other, informing the levels within. The first of these levels is the level of the body, the physical, literal level, which is enveloped by the level of the mind that informs the body. We know that the mind creates psychosomatic disease and that it can create psychosomatic health. Enveloping and informing the mind and the body is the soul, the level of the soul, or of myth, of the sacred. And enveloping and informing all of these is the level of spirit. Each of these levels has its own language. The level of the body, of matter, its language is biochemical, molecules and atoms. The level of mind, the language are words. The level of the soul has the language of images, of poetry, of fire, of drums, of music. The level of spirit, its language is energy, pure energy and intention. The Munay Ki, the initiation rites, operate at the level of spirit and utilize the language of energy, which then informs the soul, informs our mind and our belief systems, informs our body and our behaviors. When we bring change about at the level of spirit, at the blueprint level of our being, our soul changes, our minds change, our bodies change, and the world around us is transformed. At the level of the body, reality is 99% matter and 1% consciousness. At the level of spirit, reality is 99% consciousness and 1% matter. The closer to the level of spirit that we intervene, the more powerful that our intervention is. We know that we cannot fix an emotional wound by going shopping. And we also know that we cannot resolve a problem at the level at which it was created. It has to be resolved at the level above. The Earth Keeper understands that there's a spiritual solution There's an energetic solution to every problem that we face. And that when we work and operate from the level of spirit, from the level of source, we have extraordinary assistance available to us. The Munay Ki offers us the opportunity, the possibility to take up permanent residence at the domain of spirit. We remain eminently effective in the world, but are no longer owned or possessed by it. We are in the world, but not of it. The Earth Keeper understands that there are 4 steps in the awakening of our spirit or God consciousness. The first is that God is outside of us, and that we must placate and make offerings to this God. The second is that God is within us. The third level is that God operates through us and works through us. And the fourth is that God or Spirit works as us. That you and I are God masquerading as ourselves. And while it's easy for us to comprehend this concept, the Munay Ki brings this understanding to a cellular level, a visceral level, where we know that we are spirit, dreaming the world into being, and we choose to dream a sacred dream. When we operate from the level of spirit, we have luminous beings available to us, angels, archangels, medicine men and women, Buddhas, Christ-like beings from the past and the future, ready and willing and able to work with us, to work through us, to work as us, to create the kind of world that we want our children's children to inherit, to dream a healed and whole world into being. These are the processes of the Munay Ki, and they begin with creating sacred space. In the West, we think of sacred spaces as places, as churches, synagogues, places where we worship. For the Earth Keeper, the entire world is sacred. But you learn that you can create a sacred space, which is a micro-universe in which the ordinary laws of time and space are temporarily suspended. And that you can do that by calling on the 4 directions, by coming into proper relationship with the 4 corners of the world, with the south, the west, the north, the east, and with heaven and earth. We come into alignment with the 4 directions of our ordinary world, with the world above us, the heavens, with the mother, the feminine, the earth below us. This connects us to the ecosphere, to the sphere of nature. And the Earth Keepers understood that when they saluted the 4 directions, north, south, east, west, that they were saluting the 4 fundamental principles of creation. The 4 fundamental forces known to physics are gravity, electromagnetism, the strong and the weak nuclear force. Everything in physical creation is made up of these 4 fundamental forces. Biologists have also recognized that there are 4 fundamental principles that constitute all of life. That all of the poetry of creation is written with an alphabet that has only 4 letters in it. These 4 letters are the 4 base pairs of DNA, an alphabet that contains only 4 letters and that creates the grasses, the eagles, humans, redwoods, and whales. When the Earth Keeper salutes one of the directions, they are engaging with one of the fundamental forces of creation. Forces that create and forces that destroy. And it gives them the power, the ability, and the responsibility to create and sustain all of life. The second kind of sacred space that we open is an expanding of our luminous energy field. When we call on the four directions, we're coming into proper relationship with the four forces of creation and with heaven and earth. This connects us to the ecological sphere. The second sacred space that we open is an expanding of our luminous energy field that connects us to the noosphere. That is the distinctly human sphere. It is a sacred space that gives luminous beings from the past and the future an opportunity to coexist side by side with us and intervene in our behalf. This is a sacred space that is opened by reaching up into our 8th chakra, a luminous center that resides above the physical body, but within our luminous energy field. Reaching up into our 8th chakra and expanding this radiant orb to envelop us. In doing so, we create a micro-universe in which we are outside of ordinary time. The 8th chakra that resides above the head is what in the West we call the soul. It's the energetic structure of the soul. When we expand our luminous energy field, we're creating a micro universe outside of ordinary time. We're able to step into infinity. We're able to gain the guidance and the wisdom and the power of the lineages, of the luminous beings, of the archangels that support us in our work. The Munay Ki is the path of fire. It's the path of lightning. It is a rapid path to enlightenment. It says that you do not need 600 lifetimes to experience your nature as spirit, that we can do it within this lifetime, that we can do it today, that we can do it by reinforming the hyperdimensional matrix, the luminous energy field that organizes not only our physical body, but our world around us. That's why the core ceremony of the Munay Ki is the fire ceremony. Because the seeds that you receive with each of the rites are seeds that germinate not with water as ordinary seeds do. These are spiritual seeds that germinate with light, that germinate with fire. Later on, you will see the fire ceremony that allows you to bring the warmth of the fire, the light of the sun, into each of the energy centers in your body to awaken these seeds that you have received. You will see two of our senior teachers, Wake and Marcella, gifting the rites to Lizanne and Adam. They will also show you how to prepare and lead a fire ceremony that will allow you to germinate the seeds that have been gifted to you. The initiation rites of the Munay Ki have been released at this time in history because of the extraordinary transformation the planet is going through. Use them with caution. Use them safely. After you receive the Munay Ki, these initiations are yours to share with others, with loved ones, with friends, with clients. Share them carefully. Share them respectfully. Traditionally, these rites were given at the pace that the student was ready to receive them. Remember that every person you give them to is your protégé, that you must look out for their safety and well-being and integration of these healing processes so that they do not become overwhelming for the person you're working with. Some people may be ready to receive these once per week. Others may require that you do them once per month. Traditionally, they were given when the student was ready. Sometimes they were only gifted once per year. Today, the pace of change has become so great and so accelerated that we cannot wait 10 years to go through the great initiation. We have to do it today. I will work with my students transmitting the rites once per week, which gives them the opportunity to integrate at an energetic level all of the healing that they're experiencing, the healing of their feminine, their healing of the masculine, their healing of the relationship to the earth, their healing of the relationship to the ancestors. For all of these healing processes to continue at a quick pace, but at a gentle, energetic level, without ever popping up into the psychological or bursting forth into the physical, so that only their benefits, their healing qualities, their rewards come up to the level of the mind and to the level of the body. Remember that these are transformational processes. They are alchemical processes that we want to maintain at a subtle, gentle, energetic level. The way to do this is to continue to bring them to the fire. Come back to the fire ceremony. If you receive the rites on a weekly basis, hold the weekly fire ceremony. Bring into the fire that which you're releasing. Take from the fire that light that is offered to you. Bring it back to the fire. The fire is the core ceremony of the Munay Ki. The Munay Ki are alchemical processes, transformational processes that bring about immediate healing at the energetic level. This healing manifests gradually over time at the level of mind, of beliefs, of psychology, at the level of the body. You can make the choice to reside at the level of spirit and have these processes operate at the energetic, at the level of spirit, and not at the level of the mind. Make that choice so that you can shed the past the way the serpent sheds her skin, which is all at once. There are two ways that the rites can be transmitted. They can be transmitted from spirit to humans directly. But human-to-human transmission has only been possible with the first 8 rites. The 9th rite was received in June of 2006 in the holy mountains of the Inca in Peru, mountains that rise to 22,000 feet altitude. They were received and brought forth by the Inca elders and brought forth to us. And for the first time, human to human gifting of these rites has been possible. The ninth rite, the God rites, the spirit rites, have never been available in the planet before. They mark the crossing of a threshold in human evolution. They mark the completion of a cycle of prophecy. As you receive and you gift the rites, you will sense the presence of the lineage with you, of the luminous ones that work with us from the spirit world. As we near the year 2012 and the fulfillment of the prophecies of the Earth Keepers, the veils between the worlds are beginning to lift. The veils are thinning. The world of humans and the world of spirit is no longer separated by an impenetrable wall. The veils have begun to thin. The connections between the worlds are becoming more readily apparent. So much so that the luminous ones, the lineage that works with us, with all Earth Keepers, regardless of nation or tradition, that lineage is allowing itself to be seen, is making itself visible. Time and pace the Munay Ki to be of service to your protege. Find the rhythm that is going to be most appropriate for them. According to lore, the seeds that we receive can grow into great big ears of corn. But if we are in need of healing, some of us will absorb these seeds and they will nurture us, they will feed us, they will sustain us. In that case, we may need to have that particular rite retransmitted to us. Those of you who have the patience and the courage to water and to tend to these seeds, you will grow them into great big ears of corn that will allow you to feed yourselves and to feed others as well. As an Earth Keeper, you have the stewardship of your protege. You're committed to accompanying them through the process. As a protege, you have the stewardship of your own alchemical and transformational process. We want to keep this process at the energetic. Remember that each of the rites is going to launch you into a transformational journey where unconscious, psychological, karmic, and spiritual material, events that occurred to you when you were 6, when you were in your mother's womb, events that happened to you 2,000 years ago in a former life, will arise, will emerge for healing and reconciliation. The task is to keep these at an energetic level. We do not want to engage them psychologically. We do not want to engage them physically. We want to keep it at the level of spirit. Turn it over to spirit, engage the forces of spirit, and bring it to the fire. Work with your coach, work with the Earth Keeper that is facilitating this process. And do not engage the drama. Remember that we are not our history. We are who we are becoming. The prophecies of 2012 are occurring today. Every single structure in society is changing. Medicine, economics, governments, relationships. We are re-examining everything that we have taken for granted in the past. The processes of the Munay Ki offer us hope, and they are an optimistic perspective on the time to come. They say that we are stepping into a millennium of gold, that we are the instruments of peace, that we are the agents of change. It has been my privilege and honor to have been part of the birthing of the Munay Ki, of the energetic processes of transformation into our world. Be part of the process. Become an agent of transformation.